I don't believe in no gods or no form of religion. My way of living is based on pure reality. My way of living is based on pure reality.
What's going on, kings and queens? It's Mitchell Chance, the voice of revolution, exposing minds to truth. So we're dealing with why I'm not celebrating the MLK holiday. Now, anybody that knows me personally and knew me for a long time know ever since I was young, I have been an MLK fanatic. So this right here has nothing to do with the man and everything to do with the holiday and how it's being used. As I get older and more historically educated, I'm able to see things through a different lens and see how the way things have been used have affected us, and for the most part affected us in a negative way. So when we think about Martin Luther King, for the most part, we think the I Have a Dream speech. Well, a little known fact is the I Have a Dream speech was not titled I Have a Dream. It was actually titled Never Again. In fact, the whole I Have a Dream portion of the speech was not on the written manuscript for the speech. It was something that MLK just felt moved to add while he was speaking. Not only that, when we look back at it and we see the way it has been promoted and we see the way it's been taught and we see the way it's been on movies and it's the background and they're playing it, we think that the speech has always been lauded as this great speech from day one. This has just been a speech that everybody was talking about and was on every news station. But the fact of the matter is, after he gave the speech, that speech was hidden. It wasn't on the front page of the papers. They wasn't promoting his speech saying it was such a great speech. They wasn't talking about it in the news saying it was such a great speech. We're talking about the 1960s when they were killing everybody. The I Have a Dream speech, or the Never Again speech that became the I Have a Dream speech, was not celebrated until after our government executed him. And once they executed him, they found an excerpt that displayed the peace that they wanted, that displayed the integration that they wanted, that displayed just working together no matter what. And they've used that to make it seem like that was the essence of the man's dream. So they took the most peaceful excerpt they could to dissipate the people's anger at the government for murdering him. So now, since you love Martin Luther King so much, we'll give you this small excerpt of the man so we can say this is what the man stood for and get the black people to say, well, you know what? We need to follow King's dream. And King's dream was for us to just be peaceful. And King's dream was just for us to march on Selma and get our heads bust wide open. That's all King stood for. King only stood for being nonviolent, no matter how much you're getting beat. I have a dream. So when I look at this holiday, now this is the first thing. Whenever something is commercialized, it's commercialized for a reason. Whenever something is commercialized, it's commercialized for a reason. Now, when they gave us MLK Day, they're making sure they're giving us a day that can keep us controlled in our mind. Now, we have a man who was fighting for the equality of our people. We have a man who is not afraid to speak out against the establishment. We have a man who was not afraid to speak out against this country going to war with other countries for no reason. But now his day has been reduced to a day of service. Now his day has been reduced to, well, feed the homeless or go clean up the projects or go sweep some streets. Well, if we are going to celebrate the essence of who this man is, we need to be going against the establishment. Every year when we celebrate Martin Luther King Day, we need to be going against what the government is doing. We need to be going against the government going into Africa and starting wars, and going into the alleged Middle East and starting wars, and going into Asia and starting wars. Yes, Afghanistan and that stuff is in Asia. I know you might not have knew that, but that's what that's the fact of the matter. That stuff is in Asia. They're going into all these countries and starting wars. King spoke against that stuff. But now, since we love Martin Luther King so much, and since they control the way our holidays are structured, they can now make you think that you are doing Martin Luther King a service by sweeping up some streets. No, you're doing Martin Luther King a disservice. Now, to all of my black people who are doing things on Martin Luther King Day, doing these days of service, I applaud you for wanting to do something. And I will never disrespect people for trying to do something. So this is not a knock on you. This is not me bashing what you're doing. This is me exposing, because my whole thing is to expose minds to truth. This is me exposing the way they take and puppeteer all of our stuff when we allow them to control it. So once they turn it into a holiday, they can then control the holiday. First of all, what's the Martin Luther King Day sales? Why we need Martin Luther? What does Martin Luther King's life have to do with sales? That's what happens when they control our holidays. So I'm not celebrating the Martin Luther King holiday, but I will celebrate the man. I'm not pushing the Martin Luther King holiday agenda, but I will push the man's agenda. I'm not speaking what they want me to speak for the holiday, but I will speak what the man spoke, because I love that ancestor. I love that black man. I love everything that that black man stood for. But this holiday does not stand for the man that we love and that we hold so dear to our heart. This holiday does not do any service to what that man really stood for. You just want to take a day off work and go sweep up some pavements. That's not what that man stood for. If you want to celebrate Martin Luther King, then speak against the establishment. If you want to celebrate Martin Luther King, then fight for the equality of your people every day. If you want to celebrate the man, Martin Luther King, then you make sure you are fighting for justice for your people. You make sure when somebody is killed unjustly, that you are standing up for those people. That if somebody is treated like Rosa Parks was treated, then you can make sure you're fighting for that person to be treated equally. Don't allow this white supremacist people to take our heroes, give us holidays, and get us to deviate from what the people themselves stood for. They might one day give us Malcolm X Day, and we know how unapologetic Malcolm X is, and they'll try to turn that into some kind of soft stuff, some integration stuff, some old, just anything that's going to take us away from the proper message, because when we follow the real message, we liberate our people, and they don't want us liberated. So this is why I am not participating in the Martin Luther King holiday, but I will always, always participate in celebrating the man. But we have to understand when our movements have been hijacked. And this is a book with the series is going on. I'm going to go into not the next one, but the third installment of The Great Hijack is going to deal with the hijacking of our movements, the way they take our movements, reshape them, and give them back to us. That's going in a way that is going to keep us from being liberated. But that's not out just yet. But right now, The Great Hijack is out. And if you want to download your free version, the free first chapter of the book, send me an inbox with the word info, I-N-F-O, no period, no exclamation mark, no nothing else. Just inbox me the word info, I-N-F-O, in order to get a free download of the first chapter of my book. And if you like the book or any of the other books I have, make sure you go to mchantspeaks.com. If I bring you vital messages, make sure you support me. Again, I started this year all talking about unapologetic values. I'm going to be unapologetic about my value. So if you think that what I bring to you daily is valuable, make sure you monetarily support me. So go ahead to mchantspeaks.com right now and purchase one or all of my books, and remember to love black, to buy black, and to think black. I love y'all.
Debunk, wake your ass up. You heard the brother. That was he brought it from start to fucking finish. You know what I'm saying? I like that brother. I like the way he do his bills, yo. But look, I'm glad somebody said it. You know what I'm saying? I've not myself alone, but amongst a bunch of people who are like-minded like myself, we have said this about the Dr. King holiday. I think it's been going on for some years now. Even actually the moment of its inception, a lot of people had misgivings, and for these very reasons. You know what I'm saying? That it would desensitize the struggle. You know what I'm saying? But I love the history lesson that the brother built on. I didn't know none of that. I didn't know that the I Have a Dream speech had a name. I mean, I didn't think it was called I Have a Dream speech. I kind of felt like I didn't know with absolution, but I kind of felt like that was an added on spur of the moment. You know, I'm feeling the moment and the time and the energy of the moment of the speech that Dr. King added that. You know what I'm saying? I always felt like that, but you know, I never looked that up. But to hear that articulated by the brother, you know what I'm saying? That's right and exact. That's deep. That should let us know that, you know, this was beyond him. You know what I'm saying? I didn't really catch some real concrete perspective on this being beyond him, other than the fact that I had to do my own research on Dr. King. And then when you see those couple other speeches that he had done that speak specifically to black people and our struggle in a more aggressive manner, you know what I'm saying? So I never touted Dr. King as the pacifist that they try to make him out to be. But I'm with this brother. I hate the fact that we have accepted that. You know what I'm saying? Like right now, I ain't gonna mention no name because I don't want to put no negative connotation out there on the group. But there's a group of people that that I still feel connected to. You know what I'm saying? I just haven't been connected in the physical with them in a while. But they every year around this time, and I did see them advertise the one this year. They have a event around Dr. King's birthday, and the event is always predicated around the dream. You know, I'm not even gonna say the name of the event because that would give it away. You know what I'm saying? Because this could be taken negatively, and I usually don't give a damn. But you know what I'm saying? This is not how I want to be reintroduced to the people. You know what I'm saying? But I do want to have this conversation with them, but I haven't been around enough to come back out of the blue and start, you know, talking about shit like that. But myself and a few other like-minded people in the group also felt that this particular event needed to be transformed from focusing on the dream and going beyond the dream. You know what I'm saying? Now, I think one of the main reasons that we have accepted this passive perception of who Dr. King is because not only do they sell that to us vicariously through the dream speech and everything else that is circled around that one phrase or term, dream. You know what I'm saying? They think his whole life was about some dream that he had about us all coming together like fuzzy bunnies or something. And the reason why it is continuously manifested, in my opinion, it's the descendants. It's the descendants of King. If nobody knows him, they know him. They know him intimately. You know what I'm saying? That other stuff is surround sound. I can hear that. That, you know what I'm saying? That is their responsibility to tell us the truth on who this man is, and they have somehow been co-opted and accepted this passive perception that this is only what this man was about some particular dream. We gotta, I think, well, not gotta, but we should, around the country, like the brother said, reevaluate the way we celebrate. And I've heard this for generations now, you know, from elders from when I was younger, talk about all we do is take a day off on Dr. King birthday. We should be doing something. I remember when it first started, when the Dr. King birthday first started, when the first couple years, it was people, at least in the community that I was in, the initial celebration was not to shop, not to spend any money on his birthday. on that celebration, not to go out to any, especially any, unless it's black owned, you know what I'm saying? But definitely don't spend any of your money in the white paradigm. Don't give any of these motherfuckers any money, or in our case, the Asians in our community who had most of the stores. But the whole point was to do something within our community to uplift ourselves. You know what I'm saying? That was the initial push from, what you call it, conscious-minded, radical, activist-minded type of motherfuckers in the black community. The initial moment that they created the holiday, this is what most people were talking about. I remember that shit. I remember that argument. But what do we do? How do we deal with that? Because see, people, just like I said, the organization of people that I know who continuously have this or this event around the dream, and it seems to be all this, love and this big love fest, you know what I'm saying, and this remembrance, you know what I'm saying. We don't need to harmonize. I mean, to what is it? What's the word I'm looking for? We don't need to, I guess, put it on a pedestal. I don't know what word I'm supposed to be using here, but we don't need to because I don't want to use the word I'm thinking about in my head to say. It's it don't go with this. It works, but it don't go. But I mean, we fawn. That's a softer word. That's softer. So we fawn over King, the person, right? But not King's mission, his true perspective. You know what I'm saying? I always tell people I went to Dr. Martin Luther King Intermediate School in Baltimore, Maryland. I don't know if they still got it open, but I went there. And every year for the years that I was there, we would have, especially during Dr. King's birthday and Black History Month, which is next month, we would do a lot of stuff. And one of the things that it would all start off with was a essay contest where you would reenact some of Dr. King's speeches or a portion of his speech. So they would have kids like myself at that time. We would, dress up as, whatever king persona that we wanted to do, and then we would say his speeches and try to articulate his speeches with the same energy and the same inflections that he did, kind of mimic him in the speech, And I did it at least 2 years in a row. I did it. And I had a love for King, but I never liked the passive perception of who he was. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know that wasn't who he was completely, but at the time, I just really didn't like the whole turn the other cheek, let motherfuckers throw rocks at you, all that type of shit. I was more a Malcolm X fan and a Harriet Tubman fan. And that was my queen right there. Harriet Tubman was that's my top civil rights leader and activist and woman of the struggle, you know what I'm saying? Bar none over any man too, you know what I'm saying? Marcus Garvey, all of them, you know what I'm saying? There's just something about older, probably elderly woman at the time struggling and triping through all types of woods and hiding out places to get from down south to up north, far up north. This is thousands of miles of travel and truck through all types of shit, through hostile territory with motherfuckers out to kill you. And she did it, and she escaped, and then she went back. And that's what made her my motherfucking hero. I mean, to go back. You know what I'm saying? I'm just thinking of what I envision of, and I can't even imagine because I wasn't there. You don't really have a full grasp of the struggle that motherfuckers went through during that time. The pain of not being able to be yourself. People talk about not being able to be yourself. Imagine that. Motherfucker, you walking down the street and some white dude come here, boy. And you gotta come like a motherfucking dog. You know what I'm saying? That would pain. I mean, I couldn't imagine that pain. That's an internal pain that is really deep. And to know that the world was like that, and if you escape that, would you come back? Even if you're coming back to free other people, and some people reluctantly don't want to go. and you elderly and you're a woman, you actually have the right, in my opinion, to say, well, I made it, I ain't going back. But she went back several times. When I heard that, she was the queen, bar none. Bar none. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I admire that toughness of hers, you know what I'm saying? And it just put King in this passive perception that he would walk and let motherfuckers throw rocks at him, sick dogs on him, spray him with water hose, and then just take it, you know, to try to have a moral high ground or some shit like that. And I'm like, that shit don't even matter. But I respect that. I think it was more into why he did that than just that, because it would have been counterproductive to fight these motherfuckers back every time you went out. You never would have got anything done. It was an unfortunate circumstance for him to get such a visible and universally accepted struggle. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think he would have got the massive amounts of support from whites and Jews and things like that if he wasn't a pacifist and a non-violent activist. You know what I'm saying? I don't think they would have joined forces with him. You know what I'm saying? So, and it would have just antagonized the enemy, and they would have just started killing motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? Because they would have started justifying it. See, they crazy, they wild. You know, we protecting ourselves, and it would have looked like that because that's the way the world was. But we definitely got to get out of that, man. We got to go ahead and let the dream go. Let the dream die, yo. We beyond dream. We need to wake our asses up. It's nothing but propaganda. That's all it is. It's holiday. It's propaganda. But we live in a country full of propagandists. You know what I'm saying? That's what these motherfuckers do. They master this shit. And so just like the brother in his bill was saying, that, you know, you can tell that there was concerted, conscious, purposeful effort to minimize and diminish the power behind this man's actions. You know what I'm saying? It was easy for them to minimize Malcolm X's because they can always, I know that's how I was always taught, that he was a radical and he was about violence and shit like that. So they do that. And then they make the correlation that, you know, he was just all about the Muslims or something like that. They definitely like to point out his faults and who he was before he became Malcolm X, as Malcolm Little. So that humanizes him and puts him at equal playing field with the average person. So, you know, that's a good thing in my opinion, but it's not a good thing when you have a holier than thou, high moral character, a perfect perception of a radical and a revolutionary who was able to accomplish his mission in a peaceful way and, for all intents and purposes, get more done than anybody else, getting laws changed and things like that. So that's part of the propaganda, you know what I'm saying? They real good with that. And so I think the brother's right. I think somebody got together and was like, you know, well, damn, what can we do? Because we want to kill this shit. And that was right around the time when King got assassinated. There was mad problems in the hoods, you know what I'm saying? Motherfuckers was up in arms. I remember Baltimore, they had a riot. I know damn near everywhere else they had a riot. You know, motherfuckers was trying to extinguish that fire, that anger. And the problem is that we always get emotional and reactionary when, just like the brother was born in what we should do for King's holiday, that's the stuff we should be doing on a daily basis. We have to remember that we have not moved yet. For all intents and purposes, from the moment of King, X, Tubman, Garvey, we've been running on the treadmill ever since. Wasting a lot of energy, sweating profusely, like just drenched, you feel me? But we ain't moved nowhere. You know what I'm saying? We ain't go nowhere. We still in the same spot. So, can Dr. King's dream solve our problem? I mean, because we integrated. We fully integrated, bro. We in there. We can go anywhere and eat. You can drink water from any water fountain. You know what I'm saying? You can go to any school as long as you can make it there, as long as you can afford it. If it costs, you can go. So much so that they can't keep you out, even if they want to keep you out by law. You know what I'm saying? So we integrated. What happened? Little black kids are playing with little white kids. They was doing that anyway, but I mean, okay, we got that. The dream, for all intents and purposes, has been realized. So that's the other thing that kills me, is like people talk about this dream as if we still trying to reach it. We already there. But we don't want to admit that the dream was not the solution to our problem. It wasn't going to fix nothing. It never was. It never was. So what do we do? Listen to the brother's bill. He told you. We need to work together. You know what I'm saying? That day, if any day, out of any day, really, from January through February, motherfucker, we need to take both months. You feel me? Because Dr. King is in the middle of the month of January, so we should be starting to celebrate who he is from the beginning of the month all the way to the end of the month. We might as well, since we're going to pick it right back up in the beginning of February. Let's just go ahead and connect all that. You know how people do when they have a birthday and they just drag it on through the whole week or some shit like that. Yeah, let's do that. Let's just drag this shit out. And in these 2 months, and this is a perfect time to do it, the beginning of the year. That means at the beginning of the year, for the first 2 months of the year, every year, we, black people, should be extremely active on our upliftment and fixing and solving our issues together. That should be the moment of the year, the beginning, after we do our New Year's Eve thing. Everybody party hardy, you get your sleep, New Year's Day. But by the 2nd of the January, motherfuckers need to be in meetings consistently all the way through February to the end of February. We should be having an extreme amount of communications and contacts, and we should be doing concrete building. You feel me? Concrete building. I mean, we should be building stuff that will stand the test of time. We should be making tangible changes, things that will, be solidified and be like, okay, we made that. And when we look back, we'll be able to see something that successes. We'll be like, okay, we got that done last year. We're working on this shit. And this needs to be a worldwide connection. We need to realize the dream of all the leaders of our past. We need to realize Marcus Garvey's dream. We need to make inroads and connections to Africa. We need to make connections with our brothers and sisters in Africa and our African brothers and sisters here in America. You know what I'm saying? We need to stop shopping white. We need to, for these 2 months, not one white motherfucker need to get a dime of ours. Especially a white motherfucker who we can definitely say is not with the cause, you know what I'm saying? Like Walmart or some shit like that. The big motherfuckers. I mean, there might be exceptions to the rule, but we need to be internalized. We need to internalize our struggle. We need to realize the mission of the Black Panther Party. We need to establish and initiate some of those things like the school breakfast program, the after school programs and stuff like that they were already doing. We need to bring those things back to existence and cover them through the whole year. So these first 2 months can be fundraising and a lot of work put to maintain those programs throughout the year. We like right now we got going on this shit with H&M, and you'll see videos going viral now. Brothers and sisters in South Africa turn H&M up. Now, I, like many other people, when I saw that on the thread that I was on, I was telling people, that's counterproductive, and I heard a couple other people say that. But one brother hit me up on one of my posts, and he said, I understand that, brother. He's like, but brother, you know, and he explained it in a real good way. You know, he's like, yo, sometimes, man, you don't give a fuck. So what? It don't look good. So what? It makes us look like the monkeys they were calling us. You know, I'm mad, and I gotta release this anger, and what better way than on their shit? I agree. I agree. I can't argue with that. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't have did it that way, but I'm not going. I'm not going to chastise or criticize these African brothers and sisters for going, because I don't give two shits about H&M and their shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm just thinking like it really didn't solve anything, but you know, hey, at least they feel better. It's kind of like you know, like when King got killed, motherfuckers went in the community and broke a bunch of shit and looted a bunch of shit, and you know, it probably was counterproductive to a degree, but at least we felt better, you know. And that's people don't understand. Like, why they keep tearing up their shit? This is not our shit. It's just the closest shit to us. We know it ain't ours, so fuck it. We mad, somebody gonna pay. When you backed against the wall and you have no options, sometimes you just strike out. Just lash out. You do anything, everything, you know. It's like that trap rat scenario, you know. A rat might be teeny and small to a human, but if you trap that motherfucker in the corner, or a raccoon or some shit like that, they coming for your ass, nigga. Because they thinking once they hit the wall, they thinking to themselves, okay, there's only one way out of this motherfucker. I'm gonna have to go forward. So they go balls to the wall. They jump up to your face, get the scream, scratching, screeching, and trying to bite your ass. Do whatever I can do. I don't care how big or how insurmountable the odds may look. You know what I'm saying? Come on, man. I just hope we can do that. We got to get past the propaganda. You see what they do? This is propaganda 101. They took a catchy phrase and in a particular point of a speech that was that had a deep emotional reaction. You know what I'm saying? You know, most speeches have a crescendo point, a point that ascends up to a high point, a level where they, you know, you hear the speech writer or the person who's giving the speech start to, you know, speed up their cadence of talk, and they get more loud, and they come from the diaphragm real deep, and they, you know, really articulate and put inflection on their words. You know what I'm saying? You hear Obama's a good speech giver. He does that a lot. You know what I'm saying? It's just that moment. You heard Oprah did it recently. That's why they talk about she should run for president all over her speech, because she started to talk and get real, you know, excited and tell you about what we should do as people, and we can make it if we just come together, and everybody starts clapping, and it gets louder and louder, and you feel that. That's energy. You know what I'm saying? It's the same thing going to church when the preacher, everybody wonder, well, how you get the Holy Ghost if there's no God or there's no Holy Ghost? Because it's the energy of the moment. You know what I'm saying? You feeling the emotional connection to the fact that everybody else is feeling that love, and they displaying it, and it's running around in the room. That's all it was. And they took that moment and that phraseology, I have a dream, and they isolated it. And they propagandized it. This is their MO. They isolate everything. That's how they do. They find the part that they want, they isolate that, and then they magnify it to make it more powerful so it can do what they want to do. You know what I'm saying? And my best example for that, to show you that that's real, you know, in all aspects of life. This is just through a propaganda way, but they do that in the physical too. When a white man was traipsing through the Andes Mountains, you know, a doctor looking for herbs and stuff to apply as medicine and to understand native medicine so that he can take it back to Germany, he came across the coca leaf. And he saw all these people high in the mountain altitude, you know, where he was tired as shit and can barely catch his breath. And these motherfuckers were just working, chilling. Like, yo, where they get this energy from? And they saw them all chewing on a leaf. And it was like, well, what is that? It's a coca leaf. Oh, we chew this, gives us a little burst of energy and shit like that. And we just do our thing. Oh, yeah. Let me get that leaf. Takes it back home, puts it under the microscope, grinds it down, you know, finds all the properties and shit within it, finds the part that gives the people the stimulation and the energy, isolates it, takes it out. Cocaine. Now niggas high as shit. When you would have left it in its natural form, it would have been just as beneficial, but less harmful. That's what they do. They isolate shit. And the reason why they do it is because they make it their own. When they take that out of its natural state and they make it their own, and it's unnatural, but at least they got control over it. So wake your ass up and listen to my brother, man. Forget this holiday or celebrate it right. And I would say to him and to anybody else, let's come up with something. You know what I'm saying? How should we celebrate it? I've toyed over this particular idea a lot. You know, obviously we're gonna get the day off. So what should we do? What can we do constructive to really pull some usefulness out of this holiday and this energy around this time? How should we do it? Add on. Peace.
I come here tonight and plead with you. Believe in yourself and believe that you're somebody. As I said to a group last night, nobody else can do this for us. No document can do this for us. No Lincolnian Emancipation Proclamation can do this for us. No Kennysonian or Johnsonian Civil Rights Bill can do this for us. If the Negro is to be free, he must move down into the inner resources of his own soul and sign with a pen and ink of self-assertive manhood his own Emancipation Proclamation. Don't let anybody take your manhood. Be proud of our heritage. As somebody said earlier tonight, we don't have anything to be ashamed of. Somebody told a lie one day. They couched it in language. They made everything black, ugly, and evil. Look in your dictionary and see the synonyms of the word black. There's always something degrading and low and sinister. Look at the word white. It's always something pure, high, and clean. But I want to get the language right tonight. I want to get the language so right that everybody here will cry out, yes, I'm black, I'm proud of it, I'm black and beautiful.